Good morning on a rainy Wednesday. I'm Rod Hill along with...
I'm Chris McGinness. Good morning.
Yeah, rain out there. No storminess today, right? And for the most part, what I call gentle rain. It's not like we're going to be running from downpours to get into your
As
car.
opposed to sideways rain or the rain that comes up from below because it's splashing the puddles and then hitting you. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and show you the 7-day forecast. You know, mild weather return. 24 hours ago, we started the day in the 20s. Today, we've been 40 or better in most locations. We get up to about 50. And if anything, maybe the rain's more steady where you live this morning into early afternoon, and then more of a little mix of some dry and wet later this afternoon going into this evening. Mild weather the next couple of days, temps in the mid-50s. Thursday, a lot of the rain is going to be to our north, so maybe that's a day that, especially down in Salem, turns out to be fairly dry. Then a weather front, and then a weather front comes in Friday evening, and that kicks up the rain and cools us down into the weekend. We still have sun on Sunday. Of course, today is a very special day. You know, you've got your big holidays. You've got Christmas. You've got you know, the season of Hanukkah. You've got the 4th of July.
But then you have the holiday to end all holidays.
Yes. National Weatherperson's Day.
We've got one fan in the
newsroom. Thank you. One fan.
Thank you, Drew.
Mr. Carney, thank you.
The rest of the newsroom is carrying on with their business. It should be a government holiday. Come on. And the digital team.
Sound barrier up, please.
No, thank you for your support and your cheering along. Okay, so to celebrate, I know that Drew put the question on Facebook yesterday, like, hey, what would you like to ask our weatherman? In fact, we have 2 weather people in the morning. Hi, I'm one.
2.
Some of the time, 2. You know what? I got to change sources real quick. I got to dial that up over in the big monitor.
Chris is going to run off.
I'm going to do that, but I'm going to let you answer this one first, Rod.
So Karen says, I'm seeing more European models. You hear us talk about computer models. The Euro says this, being used these days. What do you like about it? Do you use one model more than the others? And and Chris is going to chime in here too, but I'm certainly in the big pool of fish that probably on the average day has more faith in using the European model than the American models. The European model, I mentioned this on Sunrise this morning, really got thrust into the national spotlight back in, when was that, 2012?
Yeah, November
Hurricane
1st.
Sandy,
Right
before Superstorm Sandy.
Right before the New York City Marathon, actually.
Because the Euro model pushed that storm inland more than the American model. And then everybody was going, wow, what's wrong with the forecast? And well, the Euro showed it correctly. And then since that time, that's my phone. Sean, turn that off if you would, please. Since that time, the Euro's got a lot of national spotlight in it, and it's still, interestingly enough, I went to a weather conference, even by the folks, the PhDs that run our National Computer Model Forecasting Center for the National Weather Service and NOAA, they acknowledge that the American scientists basically are trying to catch up with the accuracy rate of the European model.
And there's actually another question a little farther down that kind of gets into modeling. So I think there's a little bit more we can add to that, but let's wait till we get to that second or third or fourth question. I like this one. From Ellie Joan on Twitter, she says, too funny, guys. Question, do you think we'll get any snow this February, and what is the latest we have had snow? Happy Weatherperson's Day, Rod Hill.
And you have the stat sheet.
Well, I got the stat sheet, so maybe the first part of that question is, do you think we'll see any snow this February? It is currently February 5th.
February 5th.
And so we've got 24 days left in the month of February.
I'm keeping my mouth closed. I'll let you answer this one.
Wait a minute. You're the weather person on duty today. Okay, so real quick. GFS and to a lesser extent the European model, going back to that.
The American model.
Yeah, right. The Global Forecast Systems is what that stands for. Both show slightly colder air coming our way next week and slightly colder. And a couple of weather systems that track kind of in a spot that may or may not provide at least lower snow levels. So it's something we're watching, but nothing like right now jumps off of the charts in the next 2 weeks that says, oh, hey, that could be something. Then again, we just rewind to a month ago when we're like, hey, we saw something that on both models was jumping off the charts that said, hey, this could be
an actual snow event, for downtown Portland.
And of course, it didn't happen for downtown Portland. So
which we recognized several days ahead of time.
Yes,
when we called off the horses.
And it's good to point that out, and I think we can follow up with that on a later question as well. Do you think we will get snow, any snow, this February?
Well, the chance
on the
is not
Valley
dead.
floor?
It's not dead.
It's not
dead.
It's not zero. There's nothing in the next 16 days in the GFS anyway that jumps off the map and says, hey, this could be a snow event. Does it look like we have a period of heightened, let's watch this a little bit? Sure, yeah, next week.
I mean, February 30th looks really interesting to me. Anybody catch what I did?
Yeah.
There is no February 30th.
Yeah, good job.
All right, go ahead.
There are some weather apps out there that are putting a snowflake on Thursday of your 10-day forecast, which is beyond the extent of our 7-day forecast right now. So stay tuned,
and maybe some of that turns out to be what we had Monday morning.
Okay, the second part of this, which is history, right? We can answer this one with 100% certainty. What is the latest that we have had snow? So I'm kind of going back at Weather Service chart or Weather Service climate data here. The latest that PDX has measured, at least, well, you don't measure a trace, it's just in the air, right? Trace of snow, latest trace of snow, April 19th.
Pretty late.
1968.
But just a trace.
Latest 10th of an inch, March 25th. Okay, the latest.
That's a really light dusting. That's barely a dusting.
That's barely a dusting. Yeah. The latest inch, 2 inches, 5 inches. In fact, the latest major snow event, March 8th, 1951. Guess how much?
Oh boy, I should know. I'm going to say 6.7 inches.
Pretty close, 7.6. So you just reversed the numbers. 7.6 inches was not only the latest inch, the latest 2 inches, latest 5 inches. All came in that March 8th, 1951 event. So, we're not
dead.
Climatologically out of the woods until we get to about March 6th, right? And then beyond that, probably not. So, okay, let's move on to the next question. That was a fun one. Oregon has several climate regions. Which is the hardest to forecast and why? From Naomi.
I'm going to say...
Hardest to forecast. They're all hard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to bring up the Columbia River Gorge, though, and not necessarily talking about in the gorge itself, but the impact the gorge has into the Willamette Valley. You know, I worked up in Grand Rapids, Michigan for a number of years and got most of my weather forecast training up there, in fact. And, you know, the orographic player that Lake Michigan is amazing. I mean, the second the wind direction changes across the lake, the second the wind speed changes across the lake, your forecast goes out the window. We would watch Milwaukee, which was roughly right across from Grand Rapids, you know, big time.
I worked in Milwaukee. Yeah.
So I say that because I also tell people, you know, the Columbia River Gorge can be every bit of a weather player to our region as the Great Lakes are to Michigan, which to me is a heavy statement, but I think a fair one.
And maybe people outside of Michigan wouldn't understand that, you know, for perspective, but
in terms of it, you know, when it comes to life and the pressure gradients kick in, you get an east wind that just won't give away to any Pacific weather front moving in, and you think you're going to warm up and you don't, and then you get these days and days of snow, or even just the relentless days of east winds that you think are going to give away on day 3, and here it is day 7, and Gresham's been blasted by 45-mile-per-hour winds for all 7 days. It's something that higher resolution of computer modeling is starting to pick up on, but it's a really difficult thing to try to get a handle on.
And there's nuances at the beach too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's hard. The valley can be little pockets in the valley. I mean, there's all kinds of interesting stuff. You get out to the high desert, there's nuances out there too. Okay, well, we already had that question. All right, yeah, thanks for chiming in. All right, what is the difference? Okay, here's a good one from Judy. What is the difference between rain and showers? I would say showers are generally more convective in nature, meaning this is where you see those cumulus clouds popping up, and you get a heavy shower here, and then a break, and a heavy shower here, and then a break. And what that is, that's kind of an indication of turbulence in the atmosphere,
rising air
motions,
pockets,
pockets of where that rising air, those updrafts are fairly strong, and those usually coincide with heavier showers versus rain. And the way I think of that is kind of like a uniform event of precipitation rate, and it could be heavy rain, but it could be a uniform heavy rain or a uniform moderate to light rain. That's typically what we would say is stratiform, and that would typically be with like a warm front.
Yeah, and today's a good day to ask that question because outside today we have rain. When you look at the radar, and with our color scheme, and I think most TV stations in town, radar's green. The green is rain, and if it's raining all over, I mean the entire radar from Astoria to Portland to Salem to Seattle to the mountains is green. That is steady precipitation, widespread. And that is rain. I mean, other people would also add the word intermittent to showers. You know, passing shower. It was raining and now it's not. It's dry. Here's a passing shower. And it gets confusing because I've sat I've sat in my chair and watched, newscasters and weathercasters, for that matter, on TV going, oh, a lot of showers today. And I'm like, it's raining steadily for 200 miles in every direction.
Yeah.
That's rain, not showers. And do you have, what do you call numerous showers? Is that occasional rain? But basically, Chris mentioned the convective nature, and then I would add the kind of intermittent nature of them. Yeah.
All right. Next question is, are there accurate, inexpensive home thermometers? I would say go to Ace. Go get yourself a $299 mercury thermometer, and I mean, let's face it, they're pretty good.
Yeah. Thermometers, I would say you don't need to spend a fortune on. If you want a complete, digital weather station. And
spend $1,000
Davis
on
is one of the
nice
better-known
Davis
companies,
Pro, yeah.
and then now you're getting into some money. Yeah.
All right, next question. What made you decide to be a weather
I want to
person?
let you answer first because your story is far better than mine.
I thought your story was pretty good. But yeah, we got cable when I was 5 years old. And
Congratulations.
That was back in 1983. I remember it. Rogers Cable Company, which has since been bought out 8,000 times. And I would flip past the cartoons to watch the Weather Channel because I was mesmerized by...
You're how old here?
I was 5.
You're 5 years old?
I was 5 years old. I thought that the animating satellite picture and John Hope doing his little hurricane discussions, remember him?
I do, yeah.
Famous and since passed, famous meteorologist from the Weather Channel. He was their hurricane expert. And at 5 years old, I turned to my parents at the dinner table and said, I want to be a meteorologist, and I could even say the word, and they uttered something like, oh, that's great, kid, eat your broccoli. And I used to draw weather charts based on what I saw there, and by 8 years old I was doing this, drawing like the little H's and L's, and I'd give my weather report and be like, here it is, see, I'd draw it out on paper, and that was fun.
Then Chris went on to go to what's widely regarded as the Harvard of meteorology schools, and that's Penn State.
We'll take that.
Yeah, take that. No, that's fair.
Our
PhDs
PhDs wrote a lot of textbooks that are used at a lot of other universities, but there's a lot of fine universities out there that, Oregon State's doing some fantastic stuff with climate research, and of course the University of Washington, the great Dr. Cliff Mass heading their department up there. That's fascinating research that's always coming out. There are a lot of great schools.
Oklahoma's on the rise.
Oklahoma's on the rise, and with the Severe Storms Lab and University of Florida, they're all big.
Yeah.
But there's lots of fine meteorological programs out there too. So.
And then me real quick. I was basically the theater band choir kid growing up. I was in all the fine arts programs, and then switched. While I was at the University of Missouri, switched my major into radio, television, film communications. And then I had a job in news for a year, and I just didn't like it. But I liked TV. So being on TV was kind of a performance branch of when I was a theater kid growing up. And then I liked TV, but I didn't want to do news, so it was sports or weather. And I remember at the time I thought, boy, I know a lot of talented people that want to go into sports that were really good on camera. So I can't compete with them, so I'll pick weather. Seriously, that was my mindset. And this was in the 80s at a time that TV stations were really for the first time starting to make a big push to hire exclusively just people with their weather certifications. And then I went on to be in the inaugural class of this program that Mississippi State University put together that a lot of people have gone through now. And a lot of it's online. You have to go there and spend some time on the campus. But it was recognized you could do this certification program for 2 years, and it was recognized you could take a test and get the American Meteorological Society, the AMS SEAL Society. And then so I went out through all that. And then just through dumb luck, though, through time, I developed this fascination and love just for the process of forecasting. I wouldn't say I'm a science nerd. I'm certainly not educated in this field of meteorology to the level that you are. But I love the chess game and the pieces on the game board of being a forecaster. I really enjoy that work.
Science is fascinating. To watch it in action is great.
Yeah.
It's super cool. All right, I think we got one more question on here. This is a good one. You'll like this.
All right.
How do you deal with the criticism you get from ignorant people that don't understand that you're trying to predict weather in one of the most challenging regions of the United States?
We're trying to predict the future! My deal, I know we got to wrap up, so I'll be quick. But, my deal is there are times, a forecaster really shouldn't in this day and age get the forecast wrong for the day. They may stand in front of you on the day of and say they're not sure, but at the very least they should give you this could happen or this could happen.
A confidence.
Right? And I see a couple
factor,
scenarios. And that's fine. That's acceptable. Again, we're dealing with the future. But when I get upset is if we throw something out there several days in advance and then we call off the horses and then people are having fun with it. You guys said last week is going to do this. I'm like, well, actually the forecast changed daily, which is why we do a daily forecast, and that's what kind of gets under my skin a little.
It's not set in stone.
Yeah.
It changes. So stay tuned.
Yeah,
hey, if you got a question, by the way, and any topic, any weather-related topic, please fire away. You can hit us up on our Facebook pages or email us here at the station, and that is your Weather Extra for today, National Weatherperson's Day.
Goodbye.